Being a small business owner myself and having to fire women for attitudes and just certain things when they have horrible customer service, or, a customer yells at them or something, to be able to get my shop shut down, or, because people on the internet felt sympathy for her and I get in trouble for it, that's ridiculous.
I just got fired, and if you were to ask my boss why, is because I have an attitude and I was disrespectful.
I've had two customers come back to me at my donut shop and said, yeah, one of your girls was super rude. I asked her for a donut. I asked her for the name, and she said she doesn't know the name, and she just wouldn't grab me the donut because she was just like, oh, if you don't tell me the name, I'm not going to grab it for you. Yeah, I'm going to reprimand you for shit like that. Like, these customers have been coming to my shop for 20 plus years. They've been coming to my aunt for 20 plus years. So when all of a sudden I hire you and you're not Cambodian, and then you treat my customers in a certain way, they're gonna fucking tell me. And that's a problem.
And if you were to ask me why, it's because I can't allow myself to be disrespected or degraded. It's just something in me. I just can't take it and roll over. And it's a family-owned business, and I'll say my piece of advice is to just, unless you're family, don't work at a family-owned business. I was the night manager there for the entire summer. I left my job for a year. I went out on a limb. This is her first restaurant she's ever owned. New restaurant. Been a lot of discourse about her restaurant on Facebook, and not in a good way. And
I don't even know why you need to make a video like this. Like, you got fired. Move the fuck on.
I have a child with special needs, and it's worth mentioning because I can't have childcare. I can only work part-time. Like, these things that she told me that she would work with me, because not a lot of people can. And
Yes, she tries to work with you and she can't. Like, that is. People are so stupid sometimes. I hate this. I was like, yes, they're going to try to work with you. But you know what's more important? The shop, the restaurant operating with the correct amount of staff and the correct amount of everything. And if I can't get that done with you, sorry, you're gonna have to go.
and unfortunately, like I said, it's a family-owned business, so there was miscommunication between her and who apparently was my boss, and I didn't even know, like, her daughter was.
You're stupid. It's a family-owned restaurant. The whole family is your boss. It's fucking obvious. Every family member treats that as their own business. So, of course, each family member is going to have some boss-like qualities to you because it's their business.
Was my boss the whole time. I genuinely didn't I had no idea. Like, I thought we were both managers. You're the day manager, I'm the night manager. Like, I didn't, it was never clear to me. My boss told me that she would accommodate me, and then her daughter turned right around and told me that she wouldn't.
So it is a little difficult a lot of times working for family owned businesses or even smaller businesses. And that's not to excuse the idea behind her being an employee with an attitude, because there's always multiple sides to the story. And so you can listen to her, and then you can get her perspective. And then you also obviously will probably never hear from the family. If we do, then I'll update that. But I guess my point is that there's two sides to this, right? I'm gonna address the first one, and then in the longer extended version of this, I'm gonna address the second one. The first one is her, right? Because you always have to take ownership and personal responsibility, and you are not entitled to or deserve anything. You get what you work for, you get what
Correct.
you earned. They do have the right to be able to release you, especially if you have a bad attitude. All of that other stuff don't matter. It don't matter if it's family owned. It don't matter if you and only two other people are the people that work there. Your attitude is the thing that's going to carry you through it. When all else fails, and even people that are not even that great of employees, when they have a different disposition and attitude. And I will tell you, as a person that has owned restaurants, built restaurants, I've owned other types of companies, real estate, web development, consulting, content creation. I have employees in almost every facet of business that I own. Nothing is just completely ran by me or just by me.
It's too hard to run everything by yourself. You gotta have to have good people around you to help you out.
And the people in house. But the point that I'm making is I've dealt with people that had immense talent, was great at what they did.
Shitty
But
attitude.
they had a horrible attitude. And it's much easier to get rid of a person that's super talented with a bad attitude than it is with a person that's not as talented but has a.
Yeah, I can train someone that's not talented, but they have the idea, they have the attitude, they want to learn and be better. That's my kind of guy.
Phenomenal attitude and get it in. You know what I'm saying? They about their business, they take care of business, and they do the best that they possibly can, and they're willing to learn, they're willing to take feedback, criticism, and all of that. But when you're dealing with a person that just have a horrible disposition towards whatever y'all got going on, it's difficult. It's very hard to deal with a know-it-all, to deal with a person that's doing too much, all of that stuff. Now, with that being said, I want to be objective enough to speak to it on the other side of it too. A lot of times, of course, there's nepotism, right? Of course, you're dealing with people that.
It's a family-owned business, so of course the family. I mean, it's logical. Like if you owned a family business, wouldn't you expect that your family members have authority over your employees because they're working? Like I would assume so.
Probably can't ever be wrong because it's their business, and justifiably it is their business, but it doesn't mean that they're right. Of course you're dealing with people that, because there is no real corporate structure in a small family owned business, right? This is not like working for Apple. This is not like working for Microsoft. This isn't even like working for a chain restaurant. This is a small family owned business, and so their lifeblood depends on it. And so a lot of times they think that they know, or they want things done a certain way, and even if it's not right, you kind of got to do that because they're the ones that write your paycheck. But then at the same time, the game is a little bit different. No, the daughter probably wasn't your boss, but you shouldn't probably just look at her as a coworker when you know that she's the daughter of the owner of the business. You know what I'm saying? So there's some
logic to it.
Obviously, we know that, you know, a family-owned or a small business or a small restaurant is going to be negligent in, as far as not being as thorough, or they don't have certain processes in place.
Sure. And those processes are hard to come up with, right? It's because we're that small family business that he's speaking of, that we don't have those processes in place yet. Having to think of these processes to make it work for our small business to where we can scale it upwards is not easy. It's taking me a little bit of time and kicking my ass.
Where it's kind of all moving the way that they want to move it. They can move different parts in there as they see fit, again, because it is a family-owned business. And so that means that you have to be more mindful of the type of organization that you're working for, especially when you're asking for favors, saying that you need childcare and you need all of this, because let's be honest,
it's a favor. Companies don't have to hire you to give you accommodations for any of these things.
Major corporations and organizations don't have the capability to be able to bend according to your childcare, because they have certain procedures that address if you are available, you're available. If you're not, you're not. So now you got to be a little bit more amicable, because you need something, because you're depending on them to work with you according to your schedule for the things that you're doing outside of the job itself, right? So there's different things and factors and caveats that go into this whole conversation.
So my response to that was very honest. Like, hey, I cannot pay my bills. Like, I can't afford groceries and like school supplies right now. Like, I really need this job. But if you can't accommodate me when school starts, then my last day will be August 8th. I mean, you're telling me you can't give me shifts, so just make my last.
Oh, so you was already quitting anyway. She could have told us that in the beginning and we wouldn't even be having this conversation. You
Yeah.
said your last day will be August 8th because even though you really need the job, your lifestyle don't accommodate it.
And
what do you want them to do?
You part ways. Sounds amicable to me.
Be 2 days before school starts, whatever. We had a meeting today, me, her daughter, and obviously it didn't go well. And I even said to her, like, I really need to work. Like, I need money for my child.
Single mothers used to love to use their child as like an extra crutch, an extra sympathy point. And I need the job done the way the job needs to be done. I can't accommodate. It is my business. I need it to operate the way I need it to operate because I need it to be successful because I'm feeding mouths.
Mind you, we had already talked about the conversation that my child's father did in fact move here. He moved here finally. He's not living out of state anymore. But unfortunately, we are not going back to 50-50. So again, like, I can't work nights. I don't have childcare. I am not 50-50 with anybody. Like, I'm still a single mother at the end of the day.
Nah, that's not how this works.
And she still let me go. I've already been applying to jobs and interviewing, and I literally do have a job. Unfortunately, they are also not opening until the end of August. So, you know, wow. I'm just.
While I am
okay, and this is exactly why small family-owned restaurants don't like hiring out. This is exactly why. And it's not that we're racist or we don't want other people. No, we have to deal with this. People that don't operate the same way we do, like most of our family members, they don't take breaks. Is it illegal in a sense? Sure, but they're okay with that, right? And I'm not saying I want my people to not take breaks, but the work ethic and just how people operate in the family is just so different than normal workers, right?
Empathetic towards her situation. Now I've changed my perspective completely. The reason that I've changed my perspective completely is because although, you know, it's unfortunate that she can't, you know, get her lifestyle or whatever, that's not their problem.
It's not.
And this is the other problem at working for family-owned businesses and small businesses is because you ask them to take and make concessions that don't even apply to major corporations. No corporation would put up with this, which is one of the reasons why you're probably working for the family business right now, right?
Correct.
And so she's basically asking them to bend over backwards to accommodate her, which they have the option to do so or not, but that is not their responsibility. And again, it's unfortunate. You probably should give the child over to the father if possible, because you don't have the capability of being able to raise a child and be a single mother at the same time. You may need to just have visitation until you can get your life together.
Yeah, we never get to tell single mothers you need to do better or give your kids away to the father, because they get custody. Like, courts don't even care about how much these women are struggling and how much the kids are struggling, as long as they get the custody.
You can dedicate almost every piece and ounce of energy into your life to level up and put your daughter in a better position had you not leveled up. Again, now I see it a little differently. She tried to make it seem like, oh, they just let me go because they just don't get it and they just not. See, it shows you the disingenuous nature between people, right?
Yep.
Because she led with kind of sort of making them seem like the bad guys, and it's their first restaurant, and they got a bunch of family members that work there, as though that was a bad thing, as though they had anything to do with the price of tea in China. When it came down to it, it wound up being because you don't have the accommodations combined with the fact that you have a bad attitude, and it's not working out. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all
It's crazy. Again, I've owned family businesses for most of my life. My family's, since I came here when I was 5 years old, my aunts got my dad and my mom a donut shop. And from then on, I grew up at the donut shops. I grew up with small family businesses. It's so hard for us to hire outside of the family. It really is. Because we get things like this almost all the time. Because they don't operate the same way we do. They want certain things done for them, and we try, and then it just doesn't work for us, so we end up firing them or letting them go, and then there's always some kind of problem. Almost always. And a lot of Cambodians, a lot of older Cambodians, don't know labor laws. And we live in California, right? And California's labor laws are so harsh against the owners. They don't want to deal with that. They just can't deal with that because it's costing them too much money and effort to hire outside. So we just hire within our own community and our own families. It's not because we don't want to. No, it's because we want to, and it's caused us a lot of issues. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that, and catch you guys next time. Ciao.